Hey Specs, how are you doing, man?
I'm good. Thank you. How are you?
Good. Not too bad, bro. Not too bad. I'm so tired nowadays.
Well, that was fun. Hello and welcome to Untier Talk, where we get right past the casual chat and into the competitive nitty gritty of the poorly used tier with me, MZ, and Hajad and Specs. We banned some things. We got rid of them. I'm pretty surprised, to be honest. Like, let's be honest. I think banning is 100% the right play. I think most people overall who are like more invested in PU and the tournament scene supported banning, not just the room poll. But this was not going to happen on council unless we hadn't like promoted both Specs and Soulgazer before doing the vote again. So that was cool. We got rid of two things that all three of us very much wanted to go. So this is not the podcast for opposing views, unfortunately. There's a limit to how many things we can do when Hajad and I happen to be the ones who started this.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's very difficult to. It's a difficult argument to make to not ban these things. So there's only a few people I think in PU capable of making that argument, and none of them are in this call at the moment. So that kind of sucks. But
it's not
do be like
that
sometimes.
like it's not that uncommon of an argument. I don't know about that. It's just I don't get it, man. And even more, like, this was a statistic I point out. The only people who wanted to ban Lipard are people who did not want to ban those mons, who looked at the meta and went, the real problem here, the overpowering force that we can't beat, is Lipard. It's not these things that are constraining your building and have these insane in-game 50-50s. We'll see Boof and Clang Clang be pretty broken this week as Snake when we go for these replays. It's not, is this booth going to be choice band or sub SD? It's none of that. It's Lipard. That's the issue. I don't get it. I'm sorry. This is not. I tried. I did my best. I don't know what meta you're looking at.
Yeah, I voted ban on Lipard, to be fair. My reasoning for it was a bit more along the lines of something has to go, and if those two things don't go, this has to go. It's like a...
Yeah, but you didn't really want to ban Lipard. You were like, if we don't ban Cling Clang and Bouffalant, then we should ban Lipard.
Even, to be honest, I wouldn't have been angry at all if we banned Cling Clang, Boof, and Lipard. Like, that would have been fine by me as well. We just need to get rid of things. No, like, if it was up to me, we'd get, like, 7 things out of the tier and work backwards than burning one thing at a time. But obviously, that's a quite an uncommon sentiment people to have, so I don't really mind taking it slow.
Well, people have already heard plenty from us. Specs, do you want to come on here and add anything that we haven't said?
I just kind of I don't think it's unreasonable to want to ban Lipard, but I don't get, there's an inconsistency where you don't want to ban Cling Clang and then you want to ban Lipard. Like, I think banning Lipard alongside the other things makes a ton more sense than just wanting to ban Lipard or just wanting to ban, like, Laurentis. I think there's a disconnect there. I think I don't know. I want to hear more about it. I might ask Council again, like, what their thought process was.
I mean, it's strong knock is annoying, and Lipard is a huge threat. We've also seen that last week a Snake, this week a Snake. Like, throw being the main resist, getting to hit it with choice band play rough or silly attract shenanigans. I get it, but I do think we have more ways to beat Lipard. It's kind of straightforward. And I think the issue is you don't get to use those mons because, Shinotic or whatever kind of sucks in a Cling Clang Bouffalant meta. It feels like one of those things that is a problem now because we're so worked up about other stuff. I felt that's the same thing I put in my throw reasoning too. Is throw stupid? Yes, it's always been stupid. It's been crazy good since the start of PU. But we still have the same options for it for when it wasn't broken. We just haven't been able to use these options.
without taking severe penalties, mind you. Like,
Yeah, like
imagine
I
using
was trying
Musharna in the
Mush
old
and
meta.
Shiinotic in old meta with these mons. You could feel the problems with these Pokemon stemming from these very common, very broken things, just eating them. Sucks, dude. You can do it. We brought Shiinotic this week. It's harder. It's so much harder.
It's so exploitable. I'm hoping that a lot of the checks will come back better than they've been, because Shiinotic and old meta, like Musharna, like H-Chat said, in old meta, just running into Klinklang, oh my god. You have to double out every time. It's a pain.
It's not even like the doubling, to be honest. It's just like, dude, this one just straight up sucks. Like, you need to have so much offensive momentum in the old meta to the point where if you have anything slow, that thing needs to be carrying its weight by tanking hits and then also dealing damage. Musharna needs a few turns to get to the point where it's like, oh, this is scary now. I should be, switching out into a check or something. And you just couldn't afford that in the old meta. So hopefully with the lack of Klinklang and the lack of Booth, people can somewhat play around slower, more long-term things like Musharna.
I mean, play around is relative because Lilligant's just going to be taking like 50% of games, I think. It's just gonna. No, it might not be that bad, but I'm still pretty scared of Lilligant as like Subquiver being just an inherent Subsleep Quiver just being an inherently stupid thing in any meta, but especially now without the multi-Hitmon and the Sap Sippermon. I don't know.
Yeah,
Lilligant seems scary.
Lipard and
Lurantis, Lipard, not ban-worthy, but like scary.
Yeah, Lipard Lilligant are probably they probably fit into that mold of 7 ones that I just want Thanos snapped out of the meta, to be honest. They fit into that mold quite well.
Yeah. But you know what? It's only like 8 days till the tier shift. How bad can it get? Only 8 days.
Oh, it can get bad, bro. It can get bad.
Two full weeks of Snake. How bad can it get? We'll see.
We saw a Cotton Guard Amnesia Bufalon just straight up 6-0 somebody. It can get bad.
Yeah. Yes, it can. I know there was a little bit of the I don't actually know the word for it. In a movie where they're like, how bad can it get? And immediately something happens. Like, I'm just basically trying to will some bullshit into existence. Anyway, I think that about covers it for the meta stuff. Let's talk about Smog and Snookdrift.
Snake.
Yeah, like last time, we're not going to go through chronologically or whatever. I don't really remember when things happened. We're just going to use the replays thread. So that starts us off with Rosie Bear versus TJ. I like this game. I think it's just such a karmic ending is really the best thing about it. Rosie has a team that looks very rosy. It's pretty fat. It's kind of balanced. It doesn't look like insanely weak to most things, but it has like, that's clearly weird, and it's very slow. Once again, it is a very slow team. And TJ, knowing Rosie always brings very slow teams, has a Choice Band Boltund over here, as well as the rest of like an interesting looking balance. Not the kind of stuff I would have expected in this current meta. It looks like Boof and Lipard and those kind of physical strong things will just bust Slash pretty fast. But it seems like a pretty okay team.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't mind either teams, to be honest. Like, I could understand the line of thinking either way. So I don't think it would be like too fair to criticize the teams. I think it's probably more interesting part of the plays they made during the match, because we saw some cool text come out as well.
I liked the Klinklang from TJ. Just luring the Marini to T-spike and not worry about it being behind a sub, and then just wild charging the shit out of it.
Yeah.
Proceeding to beat throw.
Yeah, so that's going to be the major thing early in this game. You know, they have a little bit of back and forth. TJ gets hit by an acro he didn't want to. Rosie's playing well with his drift blim. But the main thing very early is that TJ gets his Kling Klang in versus Rosie Bear's Marini. And at one shift gear, like shift gears is Rosie Bear T spikes, thinking Marini's gonna wall this, and then just wild charge kills it after a spike. Just dead. Kling Klang's at +1 behind a sub. Rosie Bear's Marini was certainly some kind of mixed defensive. That was not full fizz def, but I think that's pretty reasonable to run. Most of the time you kind of have to assume your Marini wins. I don't think it made any more sense for Rosie to go into Sand Slash or throw like some people are saying. I think this was just mostly a case of like
100%.
You have to make that play. You have to go to Marini. That is your play. That is what you do. Kling Klang will sometimes bust out stupid sets. That's it being broken. That's just it being stupid.
Yeah, and then it killed throw after one spike too. It was so dumb.
Yeah. Like I saw a lot of people argue that Rosie misplayed there.
No.
By not going hard throw, and I'm just like, dude, you can say that so easily in hindsight. Like, go out into your more safe check when you can go out into an okay-ish check. Like, sure, like it's a fine play to make in hindsight. And if Rosie Bear played this game like again, he probably ends up winning this matchup. But the point is that lure set that TJ's running would not have worked, and Wild Charge was like a...
Yeah, but that's the point of the lure. That's not fair. And also, like, if TJ had hard gear grinded with this +1 adamant Kling Klang, you got a problem. So yeah, turn 18, huge ups for TJ. Killed the throw and the Marini with a Kling Klang. From here, he's going to come very close to throwing this game. This game ends up being very close, and it absolutely should not have been. I'm sorry. Immediately, my just biggest, like, what happened here? After killing throw, Rosie Bear goes into his Sand Slash, and TJ switches out for some reason, and I really did not like this play, and I've wanted to talk about it. Preserving the Kling Klang, I don't get it. If the Sand Slash takes the +1 adamant gear grind, that's it. Boltund wins. GG. The game is done. This game should have been so much shorter, and yeah, it was just the weirdest preservation play. I'm not sure if TJ was scared of the drift blim or didn't want to miss and figured he'd just switch or what. But going into a Sand Slash, getting poisoned, taking all this damage, like basically just losing that 1v1. Rosie Sand Slash stays healthy, gets up more hazards. None of that should have happened. That was bad.
Yeah, I agree. I think that was short-sighted to some extent. But I feel like TJ at the time probably thought that he was making like an optimal play, just to like make sure that he didn't lose or make sure he won 100%.
I think everyone at the time always thinks they're making a good play.
Yeah. Well, no, as in like you're trying to like optimize. You're not trying to hit a Thunder Fang to win the game or hit a Fire Fang. You know what I mean? So that's as much credit as I can give him for on that.
It was just tunnel vision.
I'm guessing he's thinking. I'm just thinking like he's trying to probably make Crunch to be the cleaning move, and I don't know.
If that's the case, you gear grind the Sand Slash and deal damage. Like this was just, to me, this is the main play that like. This is why this game gets so close after TJ has a huge advantage. I think it's worth analyzing, going like, no, you need to press that advantage. Rosie's only got one thing left capable of taking a Boltund hit. Gear grind that. You know?
Yeah, it's fair.
Because from there, things get pretty scary.
Yeah, TJ has to... I thought that Dougie would actually tank the crunch from Boltund from 100, but luckily for TJ, he just dies.
Well, that's a banded Boltund. That's not lucky. That's just what Boltund's supposed to do. I guess, to be fair, There's also a pretty annoying
That-
crit Rosie gets that killed TJ's Politoed that would have presumably just killed the Drifblim and made the game go more than a bit faster. So I guess that's unfortunate. But still, this is just not the situation TJ should have been in.
Yeah.
Rosie gets very close to evening up as TJ's not really pulling the trigger. Pulls a freeze even, which was very funny, and still just cannot do enough with it. Because now he shift gears and does the 50 to the Sand Slash like you should have done that way earlier. Yeah, I don't know. So the game keeps going like well past the point it should, and TJ almost loses to Bolton getting chipped by Spikes and Toxic. Fortunately for him,
has to risk Thunderfang.
Yeah, and he has to risk hitting a Thunderfang, but he probably would have had to do that anyway, to be honest. Either way, he ends up cleaning with Bolton, but like very narrowly. And I don't remember. Do you lose if Aftermath kills you? I'm pretty sure. Aftermath activates before you die. I'm pretty sure if Bolton died to Aftermath, TJ would have lost.
Jeez, that's 3% worth of.
Yeah,
3%
that's a
worth of
3% differential.
Damn.
Did Bolton take a hit? I think it was the 3% wasn't even any variance though. It was only Spikes and Poison. I'm skipping back through just to check because that'd be really funny.
Mathematically calculated.
Yeah, Bolton never took a hit. It was all just Spikes and Poison. So, okay.
Yeah, it's all mathematics then.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Still good on him. Like Bolton was just a good pick versus someone who goes so slow versus Rosie. I like his team. It's just you had the perfect initial setup, and that game came dangerously close.
100.
What? Did you say hunch or 100?
100.
100. Okay. I see what you mean. What do we got next? Planet versus Jury.
Yeah, is it possible to hate both teams? Is that a thing?
What?
I hate both teams.
Oh, I'm so offended.
Alright, go off.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Well, one, Spec/Series team does not have a fighting resist, therefore it sucks. And Planet's team does not have a stealth rocker, so therefore it sucks.
I mean, yeah.
Okay, never mind. Having no stealth rocker is fine, but in this meta particularly, but you have to at least back up no stealth rocks with lots of immediate power, like a Choice Banded, Choice Specs.
No, I don't even think that's it. I think if you don't run rocks, your biggest issue, because most things are running boots, right? Your biggest issue is you're running into Specs Rhyme, Specs Heatmore, that kind of stuff that's like, without rocks, they are really fucking hard to pressure.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think that's the problem. I don't think Planet's team is that bad versus Choice Ices. Or Fires.
Psyshock Rhyme.
It's pretty scary. Like you gotta make some plays.
Yeah.
Bro, but it's reasonable to play. That's why I think no rocks is a bit better. Like he's got a plan for what to do. I do think the team is a bit weak.
Sure.
But I think that's where no rocks can struggle, and I think he's mostly okay there.
Okay. So my next question is for Specs. What do you do versus failings?
What do I do versus failings?
Yeah. Do you just click the X, or do you just close the browser? Or do you turn off the computer? There's 3 options there.
This is Scarf Duck, right?
No, it's not Scarf. It's Scarf.
It's Scarf.
Rain Dreadnought.
Oh, it's Scarf Rain. Right.
Yeah. So
no, you would click X. Yep, that's fair.
And you click X. Yeah.
Okay, sweet. Okay, sweet. Yeah. And what happens if you brought Hitmonchan?
Oh, Hitmonchan's fine.
Yeah. Well, apparently it is. Jesus Christ. Let's just start with the easy ones. Let's start with the Assault Vest.
it doesn't kill Slash, it doesn't kill Luxray, it doesn't kill Apple. You pressure and shit.
I mean, I think that's the thing about Jerry's team. It's not the most fighting weak team. Like, you can make Hitmonchan and Throw work. It's not ideal, but like...
Yo, wait, how do you actually beat Throw?
Nothing.
Wait, how did you beat Throw?
Nothing in this meta is... Most of your team chunks it... Like, Slash is going to set hazards and then get Knock and Earthquake. Appleton, Luxray is going to... Like... That's doable. Phalanx is entirely different because it's like that speed boosting sweeping fighter that's different. Yeah, Phalanx is just gonna eat this alive. I get it. I think there are degrees of being fighting weak, and despite no fighting resist, like the level of I've got multiple fat mons and nothing like that. I don't think that makes this team just unplayable GG. The way like Obi's team earlier, he was the one no resist week 1, which by the way apparently I find out was just because specifically they wanted to just mirror match TJ and beat him like that, which totally worked out because they had the fucking exact same team. It was really funny. I think this team is playable in spite of not having like the fighting resist or whatever. I think both these teams are playable. I don't.
Well, H-Chat said himself that functionality is the most important thing in this dumb meta.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And the team functions well. So
yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. You can't beat that logic actually.
Yeah.
Honestly, you can't really beat that logic, to be honest. Like if the fundamental idea with like Triscarf Dread and the Golduck as like a rain dance pseudo rain core, that's like genius. That will crush any offense team.
Yeah.
And then you back it up with Appleton and Booth. That's like you pretty much cover all the playstyles fundamentally, but you still don't have a fighting resist. So I can't rate your team. Sorry.
Okay.
Turn 2, Tlenik gets a little screwed. I'm gonna assume these are just both max speed, and he's got a max speed subtech Polytoad, and he's like, "There's no way the Luxray's max speed. I'm just gonna sub on it," and then gets toxic first. That really sucks. That was huge for the start of the game. He tried to take that gamble, and then I want to assume it was just a speed tie that he lost.
Specs, can you give us some?
We were max speed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, he might not have been max speed. Either way, that sucks, and it's kind of hard to talk about the game without that because that's just like one of those risks that you take sometimes, and that just blew. This Polytoad might have been pretty nice versus a rain team, and now it's already like toxic and chipped, and
Yeah, now Golduck beats it 1v1, for example, so that toxic for turn 1 is just massive.
Yeah, like you can sit on Golduck and stall some rain, maybe, but and then he goes Clink Clang on the Luxray a little later, and gets superpowered because people keep saying, "Why do you run superpower on defensive Luxray?" It's the move. Superpower is the move, but Sonnet didn't think it was superpower, I guess, and took $1 billion. And that's just like, this game's hard sometimes. I get why he made those plays, but also sometimes you just need better risk management or a different team or something. Because like, I think that was all understandable. I don't think his team is bad, but also that really sucks. Oh yeah, and then later.
Bad. Oh no, his team is bad. That team is bad.
He gets toxic. He tries to foul play the Boof a lot with his Goregeist, and Boof just hits toxic, and it's like, I got set screwed again. That sucks.
Yeah, well, Specs is running the good set, the good Boof set, before it was duly unveiled. So there's another. I guess it's sub-tox tech, right? Or is it just sub-tox?
It's sub-tox body slam third drop.
Yeah, that's what I was running. I think that's.
Didn't like it,
I think that's better than tech. I think you need body slam. You just want to have body slam, but it's a good set.
I was just thinking in terms of throw. Like, what would you prefer? Would you prefer like tech to like stop it or like rack up the toxic damage over time? Or would you prefer body slam to hit the throw while it's resting?
Most throws are just resting on you anyway. Like, protect doesn't.
Yeah, so, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, Ziri also then, like, perfectly gets off the rain dance for the Golduck, and game gets close in numbers at the end. It's like, oh, it's like 3-3, but Ziri's clearly just got a huge advantage here. And then the surprise also pulling out Rain Duck on the Duck. Well, I'm not surprised. I would have expected it. Like, you just have dual rain dance there, but, like, getting the rain dance play right, that just pretty much ended it, so... Again,
I think
pretty impeccable game from Ziri. I don't think Tlenet played. Tlenet kind of got waxed, and I don't think this was him playing terribly. I sort of I get where things went wrong, like, oh, that was superpower, oh, that was toxic, etc. But it's not good. That's unfortunate.
Yeah. Ziri played this super well, as we end up knowing. I just think Tlenet's whole niche in this tournament is bringing better teams than people, and this team sucked. So, that's it. I think I really liked Tlenet's teams in week 1 and week 2. To be fair to him, because in a hard meta he built somewhat solidly and brought off-standard stuff, but it was still really solid. This just fundamentally sucked. The playability of it just sucked, and then the usually if you don't have that much playability, you can sort of make up for it in other means. You have an X threat, which is super scary, that you've built around. But honestly, I wasn't scared of anything.
Was this week.
Yeah, exactly. I thought probably the scariest thing on his team was Subtoxic Polytoad.
Mm-hmm. That really was cool the threat. Thing. That was the best thing for him, and it got toxic on the sub turn 2.
It just got body turn 1. What the fuck?
Turn 2.
The problem was it had a really good lead matchup too. So and I don't know what else he was gonna lead. It was just tough. I didn't like the matchup for him.
Mm. Also, he had a main Ectric. Why do you have a main Ectric? Don't run main Ectric, please.
Main Ectric was actually a negative.
You will even run into rain. You will run into 2 water types, and then the rest of the team is Fat Boof, Appleton, Sandslash, Fat Luxray.
And Luxray.
God, main Ectric fucking sucks. Okay, let's go to Kink Soulgazer. I'm gonna throw out my hot take right here that I know people didn't agree with. I think Soulgazer had a good matchup. He just got waxed by Kink from start to finish. And then when he finally got the play right, he got haxed, which blew. I don't think this was a bad matchup for Soulgazer. This just should not have gone. He just got outplayed for so long. Every single play for 20 turns was just him getting perfectly chipped by Kink, which is really funny because Kink Kink has been here bringing bad teams and kind of getting bopped, and got subbed out for False and got subbed back in because False couldn't make it. And then he finally turns up here and just completely outplays Soulgazer. Whether or not you agree with the matchup thing, Soulgazer got mad outplayed here. And he's the guy I'm helping, he's the guy I'm rooting for, but I gotta call it like I see it.
Where did you get he got an okay matchup from? Because the only thing I can see that Soulgazer has is an outlet is the throw. That's the only thing I can see. Or maybe the Dreadnought.
I like the fact that throw is just really good in this matchup. Kink doesn't have great throw pressure. I like the fact that Lipard plus banned Lipard plus Adamant Klinklang is going to do a lot of pressure to just a throw very quick, and both of those kind of pop off immediately after once that throw is gone. I don't think... Okay, so this is the kind of team that I think not having rocks against is bad, because you want to be a spikes team, but your Drifblim pressure is shit. Drifblim isn't even afraid of knock. Drifblim, our Drifblim isn't boots, actually. It's no item. I think? I don't actually remember. It might be boots, because we do have a Shinotic. I really don't remember. Point is, Kink doesn't have good blimp pressure or rocks or anything, and without that, he should never get a spike. Blimp can come in on Rose every single time, stop a spike, and Kink's pressure's not really there, and the whole game goes wrong because Kink gets one spike as Soulgazer tries to make a prediction, and then immediately is oh, I better play my ass off because I need this spike, and you'll see that one spike never goes away, and that's why things go downhill. But I don't think it ever needed to go there because Kink's offensive pressure is not really there.
Yeah, fair enough. I think you convinced me there, to be honest. I thought this matchup at first was looking pretty shocking for Soulgazer, but now that you speak about that, it makes sense. Is the banded Lipard play rough by any chance?
Yeah.
Wait, if it's play rough, then yeah, that even makes the matchup even better.
Specs.
Because there aren't any dark resists. You aren't going to be switching anything but throw into Lipard. That's just not a play that Kink can afford to make.
You can try, but it's always going to be a risk. Which is
yeah,
it's hard. You got to make plays, but Solgate's just the kind of person who makes those plays. So I think that's Specs,
Yeah.
how do you
Also, it's
Hajjad, let the
noted
guest
that-
go.
Never mind. Give me 1 second. It also must be said that Kink is bringing no rocks and therefore also deserved to lose, but he ended up not losing. So
Yeah, but this is no rocks, but gets waxed by fire types. Scarf Golduck is not a fire type resist. This is why no rocks is a problem. No rocks is fine if you don't just die to fire. Ice types, fine. You got like the Duck and the Dusknoir and the Klinklang, fine. But if you lose to fire types, then you need rocks to pressure when they bring choice fire types. That's
Okay. See, the problem is people aren't bringing fire types.
But they have, and then when they do, they just go off. And False is like, MZ, did you like my team? No, you had no fire resists and no rocks.
I don't mind it too much.
It's not a terrible team, but I think that's a pretty big flaw.
Yeah, I'm just gonna start bringing Monofire, to be honest. Bring back like Monferno so I can run Stealth Rocks, and I just bring Monofire.
Just bring Hitmonchan.
Don't we have a rock? Don't we have a fire type that can go for rocks? Am I crazy?
Yeah, Carkle.
Yeah, Carkle.
Oh, Carkle. Yeah, let's go. Let's
do it. That thing's horrible. No, just bring like Reboot, Hitmonchan.
I don't think we have enough. I might have to bring Roly-Coly. Genuinely.
No, okay.
What?
We have Flareon, Hitmonchan, Reboot, Carkle, and then you can choose 2 from like Fletchinder, Lampent, and Torracat. That's already 6 fire types that aren't the worst.
Torracat's good.
Oh, nice.
Torracat's not good anymore, but it could be. Okay. Yeah, we were talking about this game. Back to the match.
Does anybody fuck with Charmeleon?
No. Okay. But yeah, pretty much what happens this game.
Darumaka's broken. Pretty
much what happens this game, is that we'll play around for a few turns. Pretty basic stuff. I will say, if on the plus side for Kink's pressure, I don't think he really gets like spikes and does enough with them. Apparently, it was Stun Spore Rose that could have paralyzed the Blimp, and then Blimp can't just keep coming in and defogging for free. So that would have been the outlet. I forgot False mentioned that afterwards, I think. But even then, I like Soulgaze's offensive pressure. Anyway, Kink gets like every turn right very early, as soon as he gets this spike up. Yeah, no, it's weird. False said it was Stun Spore, but if you actually look at the game, Roselia stays in on Blimp to Sledge Bomb twice. If it was Stun Spore, he would have just Stun Spores. I don't believe that. Anyway, the point is, Soulgazer will try to Wisp Hex the Roselia instead of keeping Blimp healthy. Later on, he like lets a spike go up, and then Kink immediately does like 5 billion double switches and perfect U-turns and completely nails every single play here. Like Soulgazer goes Shiinotic, the Unpheasant's coming in, goes Klinklang, the U-turn. It's a complete grinder that like Soulgazer had a fine defensive core to hold off any pressure Kink has. It's not like perfect. Kink has ways in eventually. But Fizz Death Throw plus Shiinotic plus Klinklang should have done a lot here. Plus like even Dreadnought and Blimp. This is a pretty sturdy team. And it's just turn after turn of getting everything wrong. Trying to circle throw the Dusknoir especially was just hugely instrumental. Soulgazer losing his throw for literally nothing, and just his whole team dies. And when he finally gets something right, and Kink stays in with Unpheasant to Brave Bird the Klinklang instead of you turning out, this is where Soulgazer actually is a decent way back in. If he Gear Grinds this Unpheasant, it's pretty much dead. Shiinotic becomes kind of hard to kill. Now you can only beat it with Rose and Klinklang still, but it's so much better. If Throw gets a rest off too, and especially the Drifblim pressure, not really there. So all 3 of these mons really want the Unpheasant dead. And then Kink had crit the previous turn's Brave Bird and then dodges this Gear Grind, and that's just the nail in the coffin. And after that, this game is just over. Like, more things happen, but they don't matter. This game's just done.
Cool. Specs, do you have anything to add?
Not really.
No, it was just, yeah.
He explained it. Yeah.
I very much hope Soul Gazer pulls it around. I think it's really funny that Kink went out and then finally had a performance like this, and now False is still playing next week or this week, whatever. But yeah, that was not good.
Hopefully, False brings rocks next week.
Cappy Katut. Now your player gets waxed, Jad.
Wait, what the fuck, bro? Like, that's not fair. Yeah, me and Kepi spoke about this game in particular, and I think we both ended up agreeing that the team probably on paper seems okay, but it lacked a lot of the playability.
Yeah.
Especially when it came down to the breaking down like a Lurantis throw Bouffalon Moai, ultra bulk core. The team just did not have that same offensive output that we would have wanted. I mean, instead, we have just like an offense beta, which is fine, but Katut didn't bring offense.
I look at this team and I think this is something that Specs and Zeri would build, and then go, nah, we gotta build something else. This is not like.
Yeah.
It comes close to looking legit, and nothing immediately stands out like that. But this team does not have the power.
Well, it doesn't have that one thing. Like, I think that one thing is like Golduck, but it's far too reliant on such a linear mon.
The one thing ended up being the Dougie. We agreed early in the week that we wanted to build around something and just stick to it. And the thing we wanted to build around was Dougie.
And I think Dougie's very good. It's not a bad choice for this, but when you run into Lurantis and the throw, that becomes pretty hard for it.
Yeah, the whole thing was Screech dual stab Sucker, I think. That was the set.
That's weird. I don't like that. What I would have run sub with Screech and Sucker. So you're Screeching without a sub? That seems scary. Like, this mon is so good with sub.
Yeah, so
or spikes.
To be honest
at least spikes.
Yeah. Yeah, the team lacked a lot of the, like, Dougie is a good like fast breaker, but it's not something that you can rely on heavily as like your main breaker. You know what I mean? You can't rely on it in the same way you can rely on like a Hitmonchan or a Rhyme to just pick apart a defensive core. So that I think ended up being the falling of this team fundamentally.
Also struggles to get in.
Yeah, so, I think Dougie's great.
Again, it comes back to Golduck of getting things in, and it's the only like solid breaker here, really.
Dougie's great, but it's not the breaker that carries a team like
no,
like your Choice Band Dreadnought you mentioned, Choice Band Galarian Farfetch'd. It doesn't carry.
Dude, that set is broken.
It doesn't carry a team like that. Whereas I think Katut's got just like your basic. Here's my fat core. Here's the things I'm gonna hit you with. I've got the boof and the Lipard and the stuff works well. Like honestly, it's nothing crazy.
Yeah, honestly, Katut's team reminds me a lot of what Teddy would bring. Rest in peace, Teddy. If he brought a team, this would be very much what a Teddy team would look like. Like Lurantis, boof, throw, Driplim, and then like Lipard stuck on the end.
Yeah. I think it's funny that they both opted not to go for the Kling Clangs and said like they both had to immediately bring Mawile.
Yeah.
I also think Katut's team is honestly kind of Kling Clang weak. Like, if I was running Kling Clang and anything else, I'd already be pretty afraid of that matchup. It's not unplayable. Like, you got Lurantis throw, but it's a bit of a spook. I didn't find there's no play in this game that super interested me, like the TJ not hitting the Sand Slash or play or whatever, or like just the overall Kink Soul Gazer sequence. It just felt like a long, slow Katut just kind of playing this solid and nailing it down.
Yeah, I think there was one turn that Kepi was pretty upset about, but generally speaking, I think that the issues were more down to the team than any plays Kepi would individually make.
I do think occasionally it is a good showcase for just the issues with Boof. I don't think on its own, Choice Band, SD, Subtox, whatever, that's stupid. But for example, Kepi loses a lot because like turn 8. Circle throws in the boof. Your throw is at 69%. Nice. And Kepi's like, no, I'm going to hard out to my Gorg. What if this is a CB boof? I would be pretty scared of that. That'd be a problem. It's not. We'll find out later. This is like an SD boof. But Katut had a lot of potential leeway here to pressure the hell out of this throw because, like, you don't really have the safe play. It doesn't exist. It's a very small thing, but I think people need to look at that and think, like, why don't I have a safe play?
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Katut had a solid team. This is nothing crazy, and just played this one pretty much right. Pretty correct.
Yeah, I agree.
I guess it kind of sucked when Katut's throw was down at 14%, and then Kepi circle threw it in instead of being able to keep pressure up on it and not let it recover. But I don't think, even with the throw gone, I think Katut had this one.
Yeah, there was potential for Ice Beam cleaning if Kepi hit the Focus Blast at the end, but even at that point, it's just like it's a tough game regardless. Like Kepi got unlucky for sure, but I think there was still again mistakes that were made.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, Katut didn't run the whole thing. There's also the point where Boof SDs on throw going for sleep talk, and if Kepi had pulled circle throw and just killed it, then Katut might have lost there. I don't think so. I still think.
I don't know if things were weak enough.
Katut still has.
Throw is the one thing. Throw would either 1v1 or.
Yeah, throw plus Lurantis can still 100% do this, but maybe Kepi had an out there, but still.
We're looking at a different game.
It's not. I don't know that's enough.
It was Boom on the Geist, so potentially maybe in an alternate universe.
It's not yet. The point is that it's not impossible, but you have a 1 in 3 chance, and then you have to hit the circle throw too, I guess. So I can see why Katut made the play. I think Kepi probably should have gone for the Ironhead flinch on the boof too with the Doug. That would have been like you had to risk that instead of just Earthquake and dying.
Yeah.
Regardless, yeah, Katut ends up cleaning this one up with an SD boof because boof's pretty dumb.
Yes, it is.
Obi versus Ham. This one's interesting.
Dude, Obi brought another fake fighting resist, and I'm mad.
Yeah, his fighting resist is Kadabra. This team is legitimately fighting weak. It's bad versus them.
Yeah, I think people are just going to do this just to keep spiting me. Just like, people are just going to bring 6 fighting weak Pokemon, and I'm just going to be like, yeah, well, I mean, and then it'll win as well. That'll be the bad part, is that it's going to just win, and I'm going to be mad.
It's funny, though, because Specs couldn't beat a Phalanx, but could beat the slow ones. Obi's got the Kadabra for that Phalanx, but the Breaker fightings, that's a spoop. And Ham won last week. By just 6-0ing with sub-bulk up Hitmonchan that was not checked at all, and Obi didn't run into this with having any more of those fighting resists. Interesting choice.
Yep.
Don't know about that. I don't know about Ham's team in general. I think it's just a little... It's funny offense. It's like, haha, I've got the Ice Volley and the Stockpile Weakness Policy Drifloom and the Leafeon, and I'm just gonna like funny you with something. And that's not impossible. Those are mons that can kind of steal games. Especially, I don't think it was Blunder Policy Leaf. I don't remember if that got... I don't think that showed at all. Like, you have things that can kind of steal games, but if you don't steal the game, I don't think this comes together very well, you know?
Yeah, to be honest, I really like Kadabra in this meta, just to completely switch gears on you. I
think Kadabra's cool, but only since Klinklang left. Kadabra and Klinklang meta, you don't beat the most common setup sweeper. Your breaking sets are just neutered. Like I don't.
It's faster than most of the other psychics. That's the.
It's fine. It's fine, but I'm not gonna pretend Kadabra is a breath of fresh air. No.
A lot of times I'd rather just use Mime Galar, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's like fast.
Fair enough.
And you have the fighting coverage, all that.
Yeah, you're probably right there. But at least you have the sash. The sash
has more of an age now.
Oh no, Leafeon never hit a button, so it might have been Blunder. But like nothing really interesting happens in this game. Ham does get the weakness policy blimp to do something, but like it doesn't manage to sweep. I do think this might have just been Life Orb Kadabra, to be honest. I don't know. I kind of want to assume, based on this game, I want to assume it's Life Orb. So I guess it didn't even beat Phalanx, but whatever. That's not the point. Like I don't hate Obi's team. Kadabra Liepard with the generic fat core, like that's fine. And it certainly worked for Ham's, like just going a bit too weird.
I think it's Kadabra.
Yeah.
It switched out on a 55% hat room. I think LO Shadow Ball probably killed. So.
Yeah, but it didn't go on the blimp. Like sack 2 mons to kill blimp.
I don't know. We'll never know.
It's not the point. Yeah, I just don't think. I think Ham stuff got too weird, or ZS whoever built it. Like the attempts, but I don't.
Yeah, I think this is another example of functionality versus, I guess, like building. Because I feel like Ham's team like works in the build up, but its functionality sucks.
Yeah, your offense has to come out and be cohesive. I've got a funny mon that'll just randomly sweep you, but in the games that doesn't randomly sweep you, what's my game plan? I don't know what this team is really doing.
Yeah, you have a lot of like not powerful but not slow things. Like just a lot of that. Like Silvali's not powerful before setting up, and not slow either. Same with Leafeon, same with Drifblim. Throw when it's defensive isn't a threat. Neither is Hatchroom, neither is Mawile. So, like, you don't really have something that goes like, oh, I do not have a check for this. That really asks questions of Obi, because then Obi can just like pick your team apart. He can just say like, okay, I can just sack this. I don't really care about this thing. So, and then I'll bring Kadabra the next turn and kill something else. And then what is he going to do about it? You know what I mean?
Mm. Yeah.
I never thought I'd hear H-Shad say Sovali and not powerful in the same
It's not the immediate thing. But no, I agree. Like Ham's team has to set up to start being scary.
Yeah.
That's not always great.
Dude, somebody just has to build like a team that can just give Sovali an SD and then that's it. It's curtains. Like, but this team was not it. Like,
yeah.
Well, I like that they followed this whole having multiple like things to win, because a lot of teams have just been like Klinklang and like maybe a bulk up throw or something like that. He has a lot of stuff that can break cores. None of it comes together though, and they're inconsistent at best.
Yeah, the cleaning potential of this team though just. I don't think it has that much cleaning potential. I don't think it has that much breaking potential, which is where the functionality I'm talking about is coming from.
I feel like he ran it in tests, and then like Blunderleaf, if it was that, or Driftblim, like stole some wins. It's like that's good.
Yeah, you're like 6-0.
Yeah,
you're like, holy shit, this is broken. I have to. Yeah. Like this is the team, and then it didn't come together.
Let's talk player records real quick, just because they're funny. You got Zeri 3-0, very strong looking top of the field. You got Obi 3-0, not as strong of a 3-0, only one upset in there over TJ, and then like beating Kink and Ham, not super surprising, but still looking good. Gonna be fun to see it continue. Katet's 1-0, having played one game. Ifo is 1-1, having subbed in for him twice, so overall that team is 2-1. And then you have 7 people at 1-2 to round out the field. It's the most even field. Everyone's 1-2. Kink, Soulgazer, TJ, Rosie, Tlenet, Ham, Kepi. Just the evenest field.
To be honest, I genuinely think that's part of the meta. Like the meta is the reason why you have so many 1-2s and not 0-2s. People who probably should be 0-2 are stealing matches that they probably shouldn't. And likewise, people who should be like 2-1 are like, because they're ahead of the curve, they're 3-0 now.
Yeah, Ham got the one like silly sub bulk of Hitmonchan win. Kepi beat Slented by dodging a focus blast. Rosie beat Soulgazer with that like Lapras matchup. I don't think it's the case for everyone. I think TJ, Soulgazer, Kink all had legit wins, but yeah, like this meta's whack. But it is still a very funny record distribution to just look at this entire. There's 11 people out of the 11 people who have played PU. 7 of them are 1 and 2. That's just funny.
Yeah, that's fair. It's gonna be interesting. I'm personally looking a lot at Zeri to be the like 7-0, 8-0, 9-0 type guy because he's looking.
I told you guys.
Pretty unbeatable. I'm not gonna lie to you. He's looking
playing so
good.
well.
No other bits of my power rankings matter. You don't have to look at how accurate they are. All you have to look at is my Zeri prediction. Nothing else. Thank you.
He's wiping the floor, and it's just incredible to see.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, being on his side.
What we got official power rankings, right? I don't remember.
Yeah, there was an article, I believe.
Yeah, I don't remember what they were for Snake. I'm pretty
sure Soulgazer was top.
I think it was Katut and then Soulgazer and then TJ and then Zeri or something.
In some order.
People pick TJ above Zeri?
Yeah. I'm trying to remember. I think they did. I'm not 100% sure.
That's pretty mind-blowing to me, to be honest. Well, obviously, I'm speaking in hindsight, so it's obvious that, but I mean, like...
I know that TJ was in the top 4. He's beside Zeri. I just forget if he's in front or behind.
Hang on.
Yeah, fair
enough. I'm finding.
Specs, like,
okay, here I got him. I got him. Katut number 1, Soulgazer number 2. So Katut hasn't really played. Hard to say anything. Soulgazer has not really been performing much yet. Zeri number 3, being number 1. Then TJ at number 4, also down to the 1-2 pool. Kepi number 5, Tlen number 6, also in the 1-2 pool. False number 7 ended up not starting for Kink, who has had 1 great game and 2 atrocious games. Skipcan at number 8, who's instead had Ham. That's about where Skipcan would have been predicted to end up. Rosie at number 9 started out with a win on SG and then has gone 1-2 since then. And then Obi at number 10 being like the big jump of that's hard to call. Again, though, I don't know that it's going to last just because it's been a single upset in there. That doesn't mean he's gonna fuck up. It just means that like it's harder to say that compared to Zeri's like very strong 3-0 versus, Tlenet and Kepi and I don't remember who else. Yeah. That's where we're at. TJ. Week 4. It's been 50 minutes. Week 4. TJ versus False. This is gonna be fun. TJ's not doing so hot. False hasn't even played.
This is actually...
I'm excited for that one.
Honestly, this game might be one of the fire games, to be honest, of the week. Yeah. I'm looking forward to this.
They could both be very fun, but TJ has had some struggles, and I didn't love Kink's team. Wasn't the worst. I'm pretty sure False made it. So I want them to both be good and have a fun game. That is my prediction.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say TJ is looking weak. This Snake. He's looking not as good as he did in PPL.
He's looking weak.
I feel like that's down to his mates not being with him, like basically guiding him in the build-up. I think he's really struggling.
Yeah, but on the other hand, it's been 3 weeks. We just had a big meta shift. We'll have another meta shift by week 6, so there's plenty of time to turn it around. But yeah, so far I agree.
Yeah, but I feel like the meta is tilting more in False's favor than it is in TJ's. Just because as the meta gets more balanced,
maybe I don't know.
The False will come into his own because he did really well towards the end in the last Snake when the meta got really nice. Meta sort of favored me and him quite well. And TJ on the other hand, I feel like he was on top of the variance, really chaotic meta. But as soon as the metas get really balanced, like towards the end of SM, he tends to fall off a little bit. So if that's anything to go by, I think False has probably better odds than people are expecting. So I'm going like 55 TJ, 45 False.
Yeah, I mean, I think False definitely has good odds. I just have no idea about the balance meta stuff.
Yeah, I'd bolt TJ too.
Ziri versus Vulpix 03.
Specs, what would you put as your numbers?
I don't use. Okay. I'll use numbers sometimes, but I just try to avoid them. They're not. They don't add anything. It's not fun doing numbers. Ziri versus Vulpix 03. Interesting that Vulpix is playing for Rosie. I don't know if this like Rosie can't play this week or Rosie's now 1-2 and immediately got tossed out. That would be funny. I have no idea. Either way, Vulpix has had like some seasonal success and stuff in the past, but mostly the like sliding through seasonals doing okay.
Did he do anything in Open?
No.
Did he do anything in Open?
No. Last Open, I think he went kind of far. Didn't make Slam playoffs. Didn't do much. Like, there's nothing to go off here. You have to bold Ziri. Like, yeah. You know, maybe.
Okay, so yeah, I'd go 80-20 then. I'd probably say 80-20 is fair. Maybe 75-25, just to respect the variance in the tier.
Okay.
Respect.
What about your numbers, MC? I'm not number.
I don't do numbers. I predict that Ziri will win. Next, Kepi Obi. I predict Obi will win.
Okay, I predict Kepi will win 100-0.
I think Kepi easily has the potential to pulls around. This is also interesting because Kepi's problem in the first couple weeks wasn't teams as much as them not really pulling it together and playing. Whereas Obi's got like weird teams that have just kind of managed to work out. If Kepi just comes in solid at the builder, I think that'll be pretty good. Just not like the TJ like very balanced solid. Like if Kepi runs in with a team builder advantage, I think they'll do good. But they need to step it up, and Obi just needs to keep doing what he's doing. So,
I have too much faith in Kepi. I think his ceiling is so high that I'm going to give it like a 51-49 Kepi.
I have so much faith. Ceiling so high. 51-49.
Obi's so he can easily pull it out. I don't want to hype him up too much.
So much faith that I'm going to give him a whole 2 percentage points higher than Obi.
Kepi knows it.
So much faith. 1% advantage.
Yeah.
Okay. Ham versus Soulgazer. I still think Soulgazer's been better. Had some rough starts so far, but I believe in the boy.
Yeah.
I call him a boy even though he's much older, probably in age, but certainly on this website.
I think he's you still have to respect that the guy was ranked first in the whole ranking things.
No, you don't. You have to respect what happens. Rankings don't mean anything. You have to respect that he's done good in the past.
Or that that's what the rankings are based off of. And plus, I think with Soulgazer, he just needs like a bit of time to just figure it out. I feel like as soon as he figures it out, he goes on a long streak. So it depends how late in the tour, if at all, if he figures it out.
I think the real problem is just he got me to support him, and I haven't even played this meta for a week because I've just been busy getting quarantined. That's the problem.
Okay.
He needs literally anyone else.
Yeah, but he can also build for himself as well, so he shouldn't be.
No, he has been building. I've just been support. He just needs better support.
Yeah, but even then, you can't just pin that on yourself and just be like, yeah.
No, I know. I'm kidding.
Once SG figures shit out, this whole thing's over.
Mm-hmm. All right, come on. This is going too long. You're taking too long of these. Katut Slenet.
Quite confident.
Gotta favor Katut.
Wait, I never got to do my numbers.
Oh my fucking god! It's taking so long.
It's 65-30.
I put 35, 65.
Yeah.
Katut versus Slenet. Definitely gotta favor Katut. I mean, he's had a good week. Slenet has not been looking strong yet. Obviously, blah blah blah. He can pull it out, but you know.
Katut looked good, and I think I favor him as a player. So if the meta shifts towards this balance that I'm talking about, I think the meta will end up favoring Katut long term and less so Slenet. So yeah, I favored Katut, but not that much, honestly. Like I probably gave 55-45, just because I respect how Slenet can just pull the rabbit out of the hat, to be honest.
Okay.
They liked Katut's team last week, so I think he's he's on point. I think I'll give him like a 60-40.
Yeah. All right, it's been about an hour. Time for everyone's favorite segment, Super Fast Slam Recap. So we had four slam sets this week. First that happened, Confide versus Moot Moot. Confide got kind of lucky to win in 3, or like he actually won game, so there was no PU, did not show up. Then we had Santu versus Dominatio. PU did show up here. Santu used the team Soulgazer used in week 2, and Dominatio used a thing that he built on his own. He actually did a whole set dump of the things he used to win open and go far in playoffs as well. That was cool of him. His teams are shockingly not great for the set dump for the PU Open winner, but they're not terrible. They're just like not. I don't think it's the craziest thing I've seen, you know. It's a cool team he made. It's got a sub nasty plot Swoobat. Unfortunately, very early, Santu switches in Dreadnought, and I think Dominatio expected Scarf Rock Blast and hard switched out Swoobat with the sub up. And if he had just killed the Dreadnought, he would have been in like primo position in this game to do big good.
He won if he stayed in.
What? Yeah,
he won if he stayed in.
I'm not gonna say he won for sure just because early, but yeah, he probably would have won. Instead, Santu like pretty handily beats PU Open winner, especially like early catching Drifblim early on with Stunspore Roselia. That was real nice, real big for him. Very dominant win from Santu, but like Dominatio really needed to get that hit off. That would have been very huge for him. Next, we have the Game 5 set, so it's definitely PU, between Pink Dragon Tamer and Rosie Bear. PDT, I don't know who passed him a team. I'm pretty sure he wouldn't have built because he knows a lot of people who are into PU, a lot of the gang, so I'm sure this came from someone, but it's still a very weird team with a Wigglytuff and a Maniac Trick, which are 2 Mons that have some struggles in this meta, and Rosie Bear has his fastest team yet by dint of having no priority and no Scarfers, but there's a Boltund. Okay. That's just why. Pink really shouldn't have had anything here. Rosie's kind of just got the core he needs to beat Pink pretty easily. Like this shouldn't have been a problem. But he brought a Rest Talk Flareon instead of doing like Wish stuff. Instead of Wish Tech, it was Rest Talk, and ended up like getting bad Sleep Talk rolls. And Pink Dragon Tamer does an unbelievable amount of wall breaking with a Galarian Mr. Mime that just should not have been breaking the Flareon. I'm not sure what that was about. And PDT ends up winning the game because it was Rest Talk Flareon, which is just a very odd choice, and goes on to win a Game 5 set. That was Game 5. That was the last game. Game 5. Yeah, real clutch victory for him on just that set being a problem. Interesting game though. I liked it. Final game, Ultra Balls versus Soulwind. Soulwind has a full stall with a Pyukumuku and a Togetic, all that stuff. Ultra Balls has the team again. Soulgazer brought week 2. Same thing that Santu had. I like this team. It's definitely not really geared for stall. Week 2 we played TJ? Yeah, week 2 we played TJ and we're not really expecting a stall. It has outs versus stall. It has some spikes, it has some pressure, CB Liepard can be annoying, that kind of stuff. Roselia 1v1's the Hatchrim because of course it does. And Ultra Balls...
I felt the jab. I felt the jab all the way across the Atlantic. I hope you knew that.
Shut up, it's fast recap. And Ultra Balls like gets a lot right in the early game, trying to do like, you know, just pressuring this stall with a team that's not really meant to pressure stall. It's hard. You got to use your spikes and your rocks and all that. Makes a huge mistake though, where he tries to like he's got a sub nasty plot Liepard. That with the hazards up and Pyukumuku not being able to touch it at all could be really useful. And instead he tries to sub nasty plot up on a Toxic and then resting and sleep talking type null that has Tri Attack so it doesn't have to U-turn out. And that does not work at all. It does not break the null. It does absolutely nothing. and it dies and gets nothing done. And that really was just like a huge not good for Ultra Balls, and takes to this point where it turns into a massive PP stall. And I watched the end of this game live. Really entertaining thing for like a stall PP stall game where Ultra Balls is just switching hard back and forth between a Blimp and a Roselia trying to stall out Solwyn's team. It's 6 versus 2, but Ultra Balls has 3 spikes and rocks up, and Solwyn can't really get his Togetic into defog. Really interesting stuff. Genuinely fun stall game that I would recommend watching. Weird plays at the end with the Togetic and the Tangela by Solwyn that I do not understand. It seemed like Solwyn had a pretty free win that he didn't take, and I wish I understood why. It's Solwyn, so I'm going to assume this is something I didn't notice. Either way, at the very end of the game, Ultra Balls chokes. He has a win, and he fucks up and lets Solwyn get a defog off. Get a roost off with Togetic when that should never have happened, and Ultra Ball should have won because the Togetic never would have been able to recover. So a close game, really fun. I enjoyed it. Solwyn ends up taking it and the set. So next week we'll have Solwyn versus Santu and Confide versus Pink Dragon Tamer, and we'll see if there's any PU there. That has been MZ's Super Fast Snake recap. Slam, not Snake.
Good job.
Okay, now we can get to everyone's actually favorite thing, Hedgehog's Gimmick Corner. I'm going to shout out Galarian Farfetch'd again. Choice band Galarian Farfetch'd. Is it good? No. Is it fun? Oh my god. It just banded scrappy stuff is just objectively fun to play with.
That's fun. Specs, my question is to you. Do you have anything that you want to share to us? Without revealing too much, of course. Lopunny.
Yeah, we're obviously not bringing it for Snake, so, Life Orb Triple Axle is not the worst thing out there.
How much does it do to a max def Gourgeist super if you hit all 3 hits?
Good question.
How do you not know this? If you're not like,
when I ran it, I didn't run it any Gourds. Okay, let's see. Super is that 41 to 49, and after rocks, it's a 90% chance to do a KO.
Oh, but this move has this move has 3 chances to miss. So a 90% chance. A 90% chance to do that is literally like 65.
90% to the power of 3.
But it also has U-turn, close combat. You got like T-wave stuff.
It didn't used to have U-turn, did it?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so. I didn't know it. I didn't realize it got that. I knew close combat triple axle.
Encore, fake out.
It's fun. I love its move pool. I would love to see people doing stuff with Lopunny, but it wouldn't be me. Couldn't be me.
Could be you.
Couldn't be me. Galarian Farfetch'd, yes. Lopunny, no.
Okay.
Although Healing Wish storing is still probably the coolest mechanic in Pokemon. So anything with Healing Wish.
Yeah, you also have like trick stuff with flame orbs and all that. But yeah.
Don't waste time with that. Do Healing Wish stuff. I want to see more tour games decided by clever Healing Wish storage. It's the shit.
On to you, H-Shad.
Okay, so the first one is going to be my main thing that I want people to use. And I want you to guess what the set is. So it's Phalanx, but I want you to guess the set.
Is it agility?
Yes.
I was talking about... I mentioned that in Gimmick Corner like months ago, I think, because that was something I was fucking with. I think agility's pretty cool. It's like you can't beat... You don't beat with Scarfer.
Move on the step.
Mm-hmm. You don't get the plus attack, but you don't beat with Scarfer. Is it agility and no retreat?
Yes, it is.
There you go.
Still not the full set, though.
Oh, come on. Agility, no retreat, close combat, and then, I don't know, probably Throat Chop or Mega Horn. Either way. Doesn't matter.
Sword Stance.
No, you're not.
It is. It's Sword Stance. It just is, though, but, like, stop running no fighting resist, and I don't have to put this on Gimmick Corner, you idiot.
Okay, sure.
And this also fucks with Luxray, so fuck you as well.
Yeah, it does fuck with Luxray.
Yeah, that's the set. The other thing that I wanted to quickly mention is I had a lot of fun in Oras NU with Weakness Policy the Vegan. and I think people should use that as well.
No. This mon's already so stupid.
Promoting this.
It's Fizz Def Lilligan.
All right.
You can run some screens, and then you can quiver dance. And then after you quiver dance, you take ice beams like crazy.
No, I think you would just run the Spadef to eat like a Mime Ice Beam or something. No?
Yeah, you can probably do that as well. But you don't gain the Fizz Def ever, so you probably want to run it. But it's still extremely fun.
Yeah.
It's getting flashbacks of Toge U-turn doing like 60 to...
Yeah. Okay. It's been like an hour 10. I think we should end this with a quote from Hajad on the PU Discord yesterday at my 4:03 p.m. Meow, meow, meow. Never leave me. Meow, meow, meow. Cat emoji. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next week.